Darn it. I'm so sorry. My phone's ringing.
Well, welcome everybody back to Agape Now. I'm Pastor Darren Johnson from Agape House at San Diego State University, and we're excited for another conversation with one of our key ministry partners. And before I introduce him, I want to welcome back Antoine Cummins, our engagement coordinator. Antoine, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Good morning, or good whenever it is when you watch this video.
And with us also today is Christian Gillette of the Episcopal Diocese of San Diego. Christian, very happy to have you with us. You've been a good and growing partner with us, so we're excited to spend some time with you today. How are you doing?
Thanks so much. I'm happy to be here. I'm doing great.
Great. And Antoine's going to catch us up a little bit with what's been happening in the Agape community. Antoine, take it away.
We created these video series just to give you guys a glimpse into the Agape community. We called it Agape Now because obviously a lot has changed since March, which seems like forever ago, and still trying to figure out what the future might hold. As we finish up this year and roll into 2021, we have a lot of ideas, a lot of plans, a lot of strategies, but all we can really tell you, all we're really certain of is what's happening at Agape now. So, a lot of people ask questions about, how do you still do campus ministries? What are the students up to? Well, right now, we're rolling into finals. Some people look forward to Thanksgiving. Some people might not necessarily have the most exciting feelings, anticipations of that holiday. You know how it is. But coming out of that, right into finals, and then hopefully some quiet for the end of the semester. So a lot of our students are exhausted. Some of them are excited. Some of them are completely missing in action. But yet we still show up. I think we have a couple events planned, the end of the year party, which we're really looking forward to. A couple community check-ins just to make sure everyone's still there. We might do a little blackout, 2 or 3 weeks of just complete silence so students can catch some rest, catch up on sleep, center themselves, to be honest, and then we can regroup, figure out what we're going to do for January. So if you're interested about more information regarding Agape, feel free to follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. We have a group me specifically for the students, and I'm the one responsible for the YouTube channel. So if I set that up correctly, you should be able to see this video and all of our other videos. So feel free to check those out. And then if you have a student in the area who may be interested in joining our community, here is my contact info. Feel free to text or email or otherwise reach out and we will get them connected. That's all I have for now. So back to you, Darren.
Thanks a lot for the update, Antoine. You reminded me, one of the things that's not new about the pandemic for us is just being continually adapting. We continue to evolve in campus ministry because there's new people coming and going all the time, and keeps us on our toes. So thanks for helping us do that in a focused, intentional way. I'm grateful for how you tend to relationships really well. And
it's the mantra.
Yeah, right on. I love that shirt. And this series has been based on our core values: radical welcome, rooted in faith, mercy and justice, and growth in community. And today we're focusing on our core value, rooted in faith. And we take that in a broad sense of faith as trust. So that's our posture in developing, meeting new friends and welcoming them into community. And so we're grateful to be in partnership where we can rely on thousands of ministry partners in the San Diego and wider area. And really key and growing partnership with us now is the Episcopal Diocese of San Diego. And so representing the diocese with us today is Christian Gillette. Christian, welcome back, and love to acquaint our community better with you, what you're about, what life is like for you and ministry.
So I guess I can start with my role with the Episcopal Diocese of San Diego, and it's kind of funny. You're important when you need a dictionary to explain all of the terms in your title. But so my title is the Canon for Evangelism and Discipleship for the diocese, and what that means is if you have kind of a church background, I'm kind of like the pastor of evangelism and discipleship. If you're not a church person, my role, the canon, I'm kind of like a consultant or a business partner with all of our churches. But my business is discipleship and evangelism. Discipleship is really about learning. Being a disciple is a student. So it's about learning how to basically be the best that we can be in this world. And that's really to be a loving person of peace. So that's the discipleship part, and helping other people to learn how to be like Jesus, a person of love and peace. And then the evangelism part is, sharing with other people what that life looks like and inviting people into that. So what I do is I basically help the 43 churches in our diocese lean into those things, into discipleship and evangelism. I wasn't always in this type of position. My past life, I was a corporate recruiter in the high-tech industry. But it's interesting to see how that career kind of tapped into the same skills that I'm using right now and kind of the same passions. And I can talk more about that. It's been an interesting road to get here. But I do see kind of my current role as a culmination of it kind of, things I'm passionate about and what's important to me. And it kind of wraps it all up in something that I think is a very interesting kind of task in front of me.
Thanks, Christian.
Yeah.
You're making connections with my journey too, and as a former engineer, and I often get asked that question when people hear that. Well, how'd you make that move? And would you care to comment on what tipped the scales for you?
My career in corporate recruiting, it really, it tapped into things that I was passionate about. Building relationships with people. Recruiting was all about getting to know people so that you could connect them with the direction that they want to go. So it's kind of relationships, and then connecting people with their purpose and kind of giving them that the direction to be to kind of really fulfill who they are. And I'm finding, and I found that the ministry work I'm in is very similar. It's very similar. It's so much of it is building relationships, whether we're doing evangelism or discipleship, whatever it is. It's all about building relationships with people. And then a lot of it is also connecting people. It's finding out, what are you passionate about? Who are you? And really connecting them with purpose and meaning. And I think a lot of people, we find, who we are when we're connected with that thing that really drives us and gives us purpose. So it was an interesting, working in that realm for years. I got to a point where I kind of wanted to use that at kind of another level, and kind of the ministry work that I've done, and especially in this role, again, like I said, it really taps into those passions that I had. But I feel like it's really connecting people, not only with a vocational kind of a job kind of purpose, but it's about connecting people with kind of ultimate purpose and who they are in this world, and how no matter what their job is, they can really have meaning and have a fulfilled and fulfilling life. So it's kind of that very similar work, but it's kind of on this another level.
Well, that's great. Thanks for sharing that, because I think that can be of value to a number of people in our community. We have a lot of vocational conversations, people exploring how their being connects with their doing, and how they're called to be a whole person in that. And so that introduction, I think, is a great way that people may be in touch with you about that, and we'd love to help facilitate that, because we get a lot of students who aren't sure about what's next or where they're going. Like for me, when I was a senior, I was finishing up my engineering program, and I realized maybe I'm not called to do this the rest of my life. Maybe I need to explore some other things. I hadn't looked sideways for 4 years. And kind of encourage people to think broadly. The community is calling things forth from you, not just our own mind, imagination. And
a lot of times other people can see things about us and see into us that maybe we can't see. So, a lot of times there's really, strengths that we have, or things that really are a big part of us, but sometimes we just don't see it because of a lot of other things. But, that's why we really need other people to help kind of see into ourselves.
Yeah, well, that connects too with our work of community organizing to build community.
Right.
And it should follow from that, like as far as social change or whatever, that flows from people being in conversation, sharing their stories, and it gives rise to what people need to be doing together.
Exactly. It is in those relationships with each other, kind of to get to know one another, but also it's the same thing with a community or a neighborhood. It's being present there and listening and talking with the neighborhood and the community, and then you can see what those strengths are, and then that's where that really exciting work comes into play, when you're bringing in those strengths and being able to then do really good work from that. But it's kind of, again, goes back to relationships and being with the people.
It was really interesting as we got into our building project to hear the feedback from the neighbors, the people who live around the university. And it turns out they were unanimously excited about our project because it was answering an overwhelming need for affordable housing for students that had really put pressure on the wider neighborhood. And not all of it good, right? With mini dorms and other kinds of things that were in tension with the character of the neighborhood. And so to see our project, it was gratifying to hear their enthusiasm for what we were up to. And so now we're more connected with a wider neighborhood because of how the needs of students called us outward, called us to imagine new reality, new possibilities for how they live together.
That's awesome. And I think people want to see good things like that happening in their neighborhoods. They want to see, people doing that kind of work. So I think that, the more that we can do things like that project, and the more that Agape House can keep growing in the neighborhood there, and not only just the SDSU community neighborhood, but, in the geographic neighborhood, I think it's going to be kind of a growing, kind of a snowball effect of good things happening.
Well, it connects for me with what you were sharing earlier about how our being, or like our discipleship, or our living with integrity as a follower of Jesus. Yeah. When we embody that, that's what people are responding to, right? Not just ideas or information, but when they see the church getting involved in this and investing in the community for the good of others beyond itself, right? Beyond its own immediate internal interests, people get excited. They're like, I think intuitively, even if they're not part of the church, they know that's what the church ought to be up to.
Exactly. I think, sometimes the church gets a little bit of a bad rap is kind of saying one thing and, doing something else. And I had one of my mentors would always say to me that, your I do has to match your IQ. So it's kind of what you think about what you're saying or what you're thinking, our actions really have to match that. And if it's not matching kind of what we're saying, then there's a problem there. So I think people get excited when they see the I do, what you're doing, actually matching kind of what people are saying. So I think it's great to have opportunities to do that. And, that's why I'm so excited about, our partnership, with the diocese, with Agape House, and the way that we're making, campus ministry a real priority for our churches and for our diocese. We talk all the time about, loving our neighbors and wanting to bring good news to our neighbors. And if we're living in San Diego, our neighbors, kind of no matter where you are in the county, it's a good chance that there's going to be college students. Those are going to be our neighbors, just because we've got some, obviously some big universities here in San Diego, SDSU being such a big part right in the middle of our city, for us to actually saying, hey, those are our neighbors. Those are the people, these college students, this community here is a group of folks that we need to be loving and serving, and for us to actually be moving into that in a real tangible way, and the way that we've made it a priority. It's really exciting to me. It is. It's kind of bringing our I do up to our IQ.
Yeah. Well, and those connections are important for students too. And when their gifts are recognized and invested in, that gives them hope that they could remain part of the community, that they don't have to move away just to chase opportunities if the church is showing up for them here. Right.
Well, one of the great things about the church is it's a community, and it's supposed to be a tight-knit community where people are, where we're helping each other, where we know each other, we know there's, those real connections. And, San Diego is a big city, and it's a big sprawling city. And I think that's another, one reason why a lot of people leave. It's hard to get connected in that type of context. So, I'm excited about seeing, the Episcopal Church here. really leaning into that and being a connection to people, offering a place for people to connect, kind of no matter where they are, what stage of life, college students, whether they're retiring, whether they're just in high school, but having a place to connect, because the more we have those meaningful connections, we will find the relationships, we'll find purpose, we'll find people connect us maybe with jobs or with things like that. It's just when you have those connections, people are much more likely to stay where they are, rather than take off and move to Phoenix or wherever.
Well, we've been grateful to see the priority that the diocese has put on campus ministry and working with young adults in particular, and with the investment in our capital project, our building replacement, and also expanding staffing for campus ministry. That's in process now. And
I actually just stepped into my role at the beginning of this year, and I was in this role for about a month, and then that's when the pandemic hit and everything changed. So I first say it was a really weird time to start this position and to be in this role, but it's actually also been an amazing time to start in this role. We elected our new bishop, so Bishop Susan Brown Snook, 2019, and when leadership changes, it kind of offers an organization to take a look at priorities and to kind of just to step back and say, who are we? What do we want to do? So I got to be a part of putting together and helping to put together a new strategic plan for the next 5 years. And then that's where we got to really, sit down and say, who are our neighbors? Who are the people here in San Diego that we ought to be serving and that we should be building relationships with? We've had this long-standing partnership with Agape House, with the Lutheran-Episcopal partnership, but for whatever reasons, we kind of have not been able to really participate as much as we wanted to in that role. So now that campus ministry is a priority, the relationship with Agape House is really going to be a place where we're focusing at first. We do have, we want to look at other campuses as well, but really excited about this project of hopefully bringing a campus minister who will be working with Agape House in a capacity more than just once in a while showing up, but actually having a person on staff with Agape House to help build those relationships with students and with the community, to help with the community organizing projects and the activism work that Agape House is doing. So we've been kind of in this plan and in working towards this past year as best we could with all the constraints with the pandemic and everything. But as we're moving into 2021, I am really excited about identifying someone to be the boots on the ground there on the SDSU campus with Agape House, to have that Episcopal presence, to be really having that partnership means something tangible. So and I also am looking forward to continuing and hoping to build relationship and to be working more with your team and again building those relationships as well.
Oh, definitely looking forward to working more closely with you and ongoing. Yeah. One thing I've experienced working with young adults and students is when we engage them and we trust, there's back to that rooted in faith, and we trust them to also influence and change and evolve the community and the ministry. Do you have thoughts about ways that young adults, campus ministry, students might impact the church?
Absolutely. So it's definitely, it's not a one-way street of us wanting to just do something for other people, but I look at it as, if we're missing that presence in our church of college students, we're missing a big blessing that they, could be bringing to our community. So it's kind of it's a give and take, and it's what are we missing? And I think, there's just, obviously there's an energy and a creativity and a passion that, that college students, specifically where they are in life, that they bring to kind of whatever situation they're in. The Episcopal Church is very passionate about social justice and really, seeing, reconciliation and justice happen in our neighborhoods. And that's something that also resonates with a lot of college students. So there's a synergy there that, I am hoping and praying that we can, as we grow, in partnership that will be able to also benefit from that kind of energy that, that college students can bring. Because I think it's something that this kind of beautiful, space where we both, we do have that passion, and we want to see that happen, that justice, and peace and reconciliation. So, and a lot of other ways too, but that's kind of one I could think of that to me is a space where, man, if we could kind of get together, I think we could do some awesome things, in our communities.
Yeah, thanks. It's fun working with people with energy and determination and hope. I know they keep renewing my faith that it's possible. Yeah, and it's fun to see them claim their stories and their voices and put them to work in public life. We like our community organizing. Some of them said, I've never been to a city council meeting and I got to talk to the city council, or I got on TV and they got to hear my story and how students are impacted with the economy and their opportunities ahead and the cost of higher education and things like that. And they realize that there's power when those stories are brought together, and that their unique story is precious and can really make things move and change. Yeah,
exactly. And I think we've seen this past year really the power that is in that voice to really change things. It's not just kind of these people at the top or something, but really when we get these people together and a lot of young people, change can happen and good things can happen. I think we saw that, we've seen that in a lot of ways this year. So I as much as I'd love to see our students empowered to be able to change things for good and to help support that, and also to see how they can help change the church for good. I think that'd be beautiful.
Well, I look forward to their presence and voice having that opportunity. So thanks for working with us to open up those paths, and I'm excited about it.
Me too.
Well, thanks for today's conversation. Really grateful to have you spend this time with us, acquaint our community with you. Anything else you'd like our community to know about you or the diocese?
Gosh, well, we're definitely having in 2021, having a couple big kind of events coming up that I think are going to be exciting. We're going to be having presiding Bishop Michael Curry, who was the preacher at the royal wedding. He's actually going to be in San Diego. We're partnering with him to put on a big event that's going to be really exciting at the end of 2021. I am looking forward to what we will be doing with you, Darren, and Agape House this year. So I am looking forward to be able to have a lot more to say as we move into 2021.
Yeah, right on. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
And we're going to switch back to Antoine. Antoine, how would you like to connect to this conversation and where we go from here?
Man, first of all, thank you, Christian. In campus ministry, sometimes we feel isolated or on an island, and we have this unofficial badge of honor that I'm going to bestow upon you. It's he gets it. So get it, and your energy. Yes, so much of the spaces that we try to curate and then walk alongside students in answering those questions. Those Zen. Who am I? Why am I here, and how then shall I live? And to know that there's people like you out there, supporting that, pushing that forward. I think, it's inspiring for me personally, but also, when you take it back to the students, this level of meaning and accompaniment that I think they really value. So,
awesome.
There's obviously tangible ways that you can support our community too. For those of you watching this video, we provide food packs for our students, we provide rent assistance. We've seen an increase in need for mental health referrals. So Darren can tell you a little bit more about the fund that we set up to try to get that going. But as we lean into that core value of, rooted in faith, especially in this time of ever-ending unknowns, prayer, right? As a community of faith, I think the best thing we can offer for ourselves and our community at Agape House is just that support, that intersection, right? God with us. So, yeah. Thank you. I don't know. I feel a lot of gratitude. I'm really excited about the future. Get connected. There's a lot of great things, great energy, great people, as you can tell, involved in this work. And we'd love to have us join. We'd love to have you join us, because without you, none of this work is possible. So again, thank you. And back to you, Dan.
Thanks, Antoine. Speaking of gratitude, I want to say thank you to all of our contributors who responded to our year-end letter. Not everybody's received them yet. We're still working on that, but thanks to those of you who responded to our board's appeal to expand our emergency relief fund for students who are experiencing hunger or on the verge of being evicted from housing. And it's a great comfort to them to know there's a community surrounding them with tangible support. So thanks for everyone who's responded to that. If you haven't yet and you'd like that opportunity, you can find us on our website, AgapeHouseSDSU.org/give, if you'd like to contribute to that direct assistance to students. There's also information about our building project if you'd like to learn more about that. But also grateful again for Christian, your conversation with us today, and we look forward to staying connected with you through the diocese, and maybe also our students having more of a presence. We look forward to that growing and hearing from them and ways they can dig in with what the diocese is up to.
Awesome. Thanks, Darren.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. So blessing the season of Advent, of preparation for the transformation that God's already up to in our world. There's plenty of need for transformation. And so grateful to open to that and to have the partners come around campus ministry to support our piece of what that means. So peace and blessings of Advent and Christmas, and we'll see you again in the new year.